Hey guys, welcome to Cultured. It's your homegirl, it's your host, Bromley. Today we're doing another episode with another medical graduate, and he's going to be sharing a lot of details about what it was like for him during med school, and I can't wait for you guys to hear it. Let's get to it. So like I said, guys, we have another medical school graduate here with us, and I'm going to introduce him. His name is Dr. Sorubaan. You want to holla?
Hey, yep, sorry. I'm so...
No
sorry,
worries,
guys,
no
if there's
worries.
any confusion, basically, there's this thing going on where I'm speaking into the phone, but we're looking at each other on the laptop. So that's where the confusion was. But so I just want to say hello to everyone and hi, Bromley. Also want to thank you, Bromley, for, I feel privileged for this opportunity.
For no worries. I'm so glad you said yes. I know you have a crazy busy schedule, which I'm going to get into. Like, by the way, guys, Sorubaan right now is like fully working in the NHS, which is in the UK, which he's working in hospitals in the UK, and he's full on doctor mode, and like he's doing so good. Prior to asking him if he was willing to do, I was asking him about what his timetable looked like during the days, and he was saying how busy he is. So we'll get down to a little bit, in the next couple of minutes. But I just want to say congratulations, first of all. Like, you graduated literally like a month ago, and you're already on a roll.
Yeah, no, I think the thing is, although my graduation was like last month, I was able to start my paperwork for GMC graduation after my last state exam, because I got the document from the university saying sort of, I've graduated, I'm just awaiting graduation day. So I was registered into the GMC, which is the General Medical Council in the UK, which is a sort of official body for all the doctors. I was, registered mid-part of January. And I sort of had a job lined up a couple of weeks prior to that. So I was able to work from there, which is where I'm still working now.
Oh, God bless you. That's just incredible. Like, I pray that God just blesses you more and more when it comes to, your achievements.
That's really sweet.
Yeah,
that is actually really sweet. Thank you.
Yeah. So I wanted to, the major reason why I wanted to do this, especially the previous episode that I did, is with another medical graduate, and I wanted to ask you guys, like, what your experience has been for the past 6 years of studying here in Bulgaria. So what would you say that you wish you knew when let's say you began your first year here in Bulgaria?
It's more so I class Bulgaria is more it's not just academical, it's also life lessons. So it's sort of two-dimensional in this situation. It's multi-dimensional, but for me, it's like the main two aspects were academics and life, and what I learned, via my experiences in Sofia. So in terms of academical side, what I wish I learned is how, how disorganized it can be in Sofia. Because obviously going from the UK and how sort of structured things are, and you go to Sofia and things aren't as structured. You sort of, trying to figure out what's going on. I'll tell you a story. The story is top of my head because I was talking to one of my friends about it on graduation day. We were, so this was a few months in, around December time. We must have had 2 months of university. And, we were told by the professors our first exam was cytology. Our first sort of major exam finals was cytology, which would be in February. And we were told this in December. We had no seniors who would inform us because we were the first sort of UK students to start in our university, properly. So I remember just being really confused about how, number one, what is this exam? I know we were going to lessons and stuff. We were looking at slides, you know how you look at the historical slides and stuff. But it wasn't that. The exam was more theoretical based. The slides was just the practical part of it. And I remember being really confused and where to study. What is this exam? How, like, there's so many questions. Like, even the most simplistic questions, like which book to study from, to how was the exam going to be structured? Like, I had no idea. Bearing in mind, this was December. The exam was 2 months away. We didn't even know there was a shop called Xerox. And we walked past it and stuff, but we didn't know this is a shop where you buy this syllabus and you sort of work your way down the syllabus and you use materials, whether given by university or external materials.
Yeah.
And, this is just one of the examples of how, you sort of had to be quite resourcely. When you're in, Sofia, or when you study abroad, really, where you've had no support,
absolutely,
elder years. So in academical side, I learned that, you've got to be, thinking on your feet all the time. You've got to be resourceful. You have to, you have to expect the unexpected. Like, you can't be surprised, if when there's something really bad happening, or when there's a bad surprise thrown at you, you've got to stand up and, fight, and you can't just sit back and, why is this happening to me? And that brings me on to nicely the second aspect, which is life lessons. What we need to understand is, just like you, just like me, we came into university in a whole different country at the age of 18. And I left when I was 24. So this is the prime years where you have an identity, where you figure yourself out.
Oh, absolutely. Come on.
This is the first years of you being adult. And this is where you're responsible, you're accountable for all your actions, and you are a fully fledged citizen. And you're maturing and stuff. So you being put in a completely different country, it's only going to expedite your maturing process.
Yeah.
And that's another thing, like, you can't predict anything in life in general anyway, but especially in Sofia, like, you just couldn't predict anything, and things happen all the time, and you just have to be ready. You just have to be ready, and you have to either stand there and, like I said, fight or flight, like the autonomic nervous system. Like, you've got to stand up and, deal with the situation at hand, or you can't be the victim. You have to try and deal with the situation. That's one thing my mentality is. Like, I try and deal with the situation. I hate having the victim mentality. So they're the two sort of umbrella terms, like academics and life, what I've figured out. You just have to be ready, whatever life throws at you.
Oh, amazing. Wow. That's incredible. I think you pretty much summed up my whole 6 years for sure. Like, I think sometimes we, especially when we start off, we focus heavily on the academics. And like, I was talking to CEO, and she was telling on how exams and things like that had took a toll on her, like, because you're like, oh, where do I study from? So in turn, it's affecting how you see yourself. Am I good enough to do this? You see yourself questioning your abilities, So like, so over the years, how have you seen yourself evolve? Like, okay, so let's say, like, since we're talking about med school per se, like, let's say you had a topic a particular subject, you say, like, what was your study pattern like? Like, how do you get down to it, when it comes to...
See, this is the thing, like, the fact is, like I said earlier, because we didn't have anyone to guide us, we had to figure out a plan that suits us from the beginning. And one thing I figured out is, in medical school, it's not the depth of knowledge. Like, if you have a sort of range of topics you need to learn for an exam, which is about, say, 150 topics, it's not about how deep you know every 150 topics. It's about if you know the 150 topics to a great, like, decent extent. It's about the breadth, not the depth of knowledge. That's one thing I figured out very quickly, is that, they want you to know, you need to understand wherever in life, as a doctor now, I'm a junior doctor, and you need to understand your remits and your competencies, what you're meant to be doing at that point. And, I wouldn't say try not to overdo. You also have to be initiative, and you need to try and, push past the boundaries you have. But you need to know what's expected of you at all times. And as a medical student, I figured out I don't need to know, like, a book written by a professor of Harvard about the, the cytology exam, for example, I mentioned earlier. What I need to know is what's required of me for that specific subject as in a role of a medical student.
Absolutely.
So that's one thing I figured out in terms of exams. Like, if I can understand what CMR is, it took a toll. Like, it does take a toll on anyone. Like, it took a toll on me. It takes a toll on most people, really. But it's about understanding that, where how do I explain it? So if everyone years above have graduated and finished, then there's sort of that, I'm also good enough. It's a sort of mentality that I think, I don't think it's, it gives a reality check, really. It's like if you,
absolutely.
So it's one of the things where I tried to, in my exam times and stuff, I realized, okay, this is what I've got to study. And I have to, number one, most important thing for me is I've got to finish every single topic. I need to know something about everything.
Yeah.
Not everything about something.
Okay.
Do you understand? So if there's 150 topics, you don't need to know everything about 30 topics. You need to know something about 150 topics. Because the chances of you getting one of the topics is 1 in 150.
Yeah.
Do you understand? So that's one thing I learned in terms of exams and stuff. And that puts things in perspective. When you realize there's only, there's only so much I can do, but I need to know everything, something about everything. It sort of puts things in perspective. And that's how I sort of dealt with exams from first to all the way until state exams.
Oh, amazing.
But obviously, when you move up the years, you need to learn more and more about certain topics. When you come to state exams, you need to learn enough to be classified as a doctor, of course. But there's skills, medical school journey is a journey. You sort of pick up skills, you pick up knowledge, and by the end, it's an accumulation, hopefully it's an accumulation of whatever you learn in the first 5 years.
That's great.
That's one thing I try to put things into perspective, from the beginning when it comes to academics anyway.
Oh, that's great. That's super advice, by the way. I want to ask you, now, because I did mention before, like now you're working doctor, you're in the field now. Like, how do you feel? I'm guessing like a lot of people would want to know how is med school training prepped you for like your practical work as a doctor?
It's how do I feel as a junior doctor? I feel out of depth, as everyone does. Honestly, I think the first 1 month, 1.5 months, you sort of, trembling along the wards and you don't know what's going on. You're sort of there and you're trying to figure out what's going on. You're given jobs. You try and do them. If not, you get advice. How medical school has prepared me for it. It's the most important thing I would say in medical school has given me is the mentality. It's, when something hard is thrown at you, like I said, it's your responsibility to make it work or learn to make it work, right? And that's one thing I would appreciate Sophia for. It's given me the mentality to, it doesn't matter how hard the situation, granted, some situations are really hard where you can't just fight. You have to look, I've lost there. Can you take a reins? But most of the situations I've been able to handle, speak to the relevant people, if, say, for example, let me give you an example. If I'm not able to catheterize a patient, which is if the patient's not passing urine appropriately, you put the tube into the bladder and, if I'm not skilled enough to do it, I, speak to the relevant people and say, look, I'm an international medical graduate and I haven't got the practical experiences you have. And I don't know how to do this. Is it possible for you to show me once? And I can possibly do it. One thing I've realized when you're working is if you're honest, they appreciate it. And that's one thing I try and do. I'm trying to tell them, look, this is what I know in this situation. Can you help me? Can you help me do this particular thing? And if you can, I'll learn it. And next time I will do it myself. And that's that's the sort of thing I've been trying to follow is that, if I don't know, I ask someone.
Amazing.
And I make sure the next time I can do it myself.
Oh, that's amazing. That's amazing advice. Oh, yeah. This is news for me as well. Like, I mean, I don't know if people who are listening, like even for me, like I want to try in the UK and things like that. So for me as well, this is like extremely informative. So that's amazing. I think those, that's just incredible. I'm just going to leave it at that. And
I think that's one advice you should, everyone and you and everyone who's listening to should take is that, you shouldn't worry about not knowing everything when you start working.
Yeah.
Because like when you study abroad and you transition into a completely different country's health system, it's impossible for you to know everything about how it works. No one who studied abroad just is climatized. So if you are, you're incredible and I commend you for it. But I haven't been able to. I know my friends who graduated with me, who some of them are working, and they also haven't been able to instantly climatize to it. It's about perseverance. It's about being honest with yourself, number one, what you know. Number two, being honest with your colleagues. And number three, willing to learn. You always have to be willing to learn. Like every day you go into work, you have to have the mentality, I can't wait to learn something today. I know it's going to be a hard day. I know it's going to be a hard day, but I can't wait to learn something new. I can't wait when you finish work, honestly, when I finish work, I'm tired. 100% of the time I'm tired. But I'm 100% of the time I'm also very fulfilled that I'm being able to help someone.
Amazing.
I am also learning something to better myself and better, patient healthcare in the near future. So that's one advice I'd give you guys. Give myself too, by the way. I'm not any.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's incredible. I think I was thinking in my head, like I have a lot of questions I want to ask you and stuff. You've pretty much covered everything. I'm not even joking. Like you've covered everything, and everything that you've said so far is so valuable. Like, is there anything else that, like looking at your 6 years and your time as working as a doctor, anything else that stands out for you that maybe might help, students who are in med school right now?
I think med school I don't think for many people, it's not a linear experience. What I mean by that is you're not always going to have fun and jolly times because when you're living away from home, there's a lot of factors to realize. Like you're living away from home, you're still essentially, you're adults, but you're a young adult. You're figuring things out by yourself and everyone else in your surrounding. It's okay to feel down sometimes. It's okay to feel, not with it sometimes. And you've got to realize that. Like I felt like that during 6 years. There were times where I felt like, I felt lost. I felt lost, and as a reaction, I was doing things that was not me at a lot of points in my life. And, I think that's one thing you need to realize that, if you need to have a good, circle around you of people you can speak to. Absolutely. And sometimes even they can't help you. You can only help yourself, and you need to give yourself time to get over certain things, get through certain things. And that's one thing I realized, like over 6 years, there were good years, there were bad years, but in the end, it was all worth it. It was all worth it because number one, I was able to get the thing I went for, which is my medical degree. And with God's grace, I'm a doctor now. But number two, I got incredible, valuable life lessons that I don't think I would have got if I studied in the UK. The UK, I've got all the comfort, like I live with my family and, I've got all the comforts given for me. I've been taken out of the comfort zone. I'm sure everyone listening and, yourself, Bromley, we've been taken out of the comfort zone. And our sort of education we've got, I'm not talking about academic, our education, life education we've got is second to none compared to the colleagues you'll be working. So cherish whatever you're feeling. If you're feeling, good, cherish it. If you're feeling bad, also cherish it because things aren't always going to be bad, And have good coping mechanisms. When you feel bad, realize, okay, why am I feeling bad? Why do I feel, why am I going through this hard time? Okay. Yeah. Right. This is the hot issue. How am I going to make sure if I go through this situation again, that I don't get to this position? Or if I get to this position, how am I going to come out of it? It's about coping mechanism end of the day in your life, really. That's one thing, like, you know, over 6 years, that's the one thing I realized and learned, you know, you can't keep me down for too long.
Yeah, you tell him, son.
That's one thing, amazing. Like, you can't keep me down for too long.
Oh, that's
and
amazing.
That's a coping mechanism of mine. Just get up, keep fighting.
Oh, amazing. Sorubaan. Amazing. I'm just listening, and I feel so like, I feel blessed to listen to what you have to say. Like, it's really like, you're being 100% real. I can tell that everything that you just expressed right now, it's straight up, you know?
Yeah.
So I just want to say, like, I think that's pretty much wraps everything that I want, at least what I wanted to ask you. And you're amazing. So I just want to say, like, again, like, thank you so much for doing this with me. Like, you have no idea, like, it's whoever is able to hear this and just like to feel encouraged. That's that one person who feels encouraged, that's what matters. So thank you so much.
I also want to say, I do want to say that, you know, like I said, I'm grateful to be here. I want you to persevere through. I know, you know, you're doing podcasts and stuff. You know, there might be resistance from outside because it's a new thing, and especially, you know, it's not a new thing in the whole grand scheme of things, but especially in our culture and thing, you know, I'm sure people are like, what's a podcast? You know, you might have had people, I don't know, you might have, you know, naysayers and stuff. So I want you to keep pushing, keep persevering, because, you know, past the first stage of resistance is where you bear all the fruits. So keep going. I will support you as much as I can in your venture of yours. And just keep going, and you're doing a really good job. And I'm proud of you.
Oh, thank you. Oh my gosh, that means the world to me. Thank you so much. Thank you. Honestly, I mean it from the bottom of my heart. Like, you know, I pray that, you know, God blesses you on whatever it is. And I'm sure, like, from the way you just spoke, I know that, you know, God's got you. So you'll be great. You'll make your parents proud.
Hope so.
But thank you again. I want to say thank you. And I want to thank you guys for listening. And, you know, I hope whatever we spoke today, you know, if you guys feel encouraged listening to it. So we're gonna wrap it up now. And Sorubaan, you want to say bye to them?
Yes, thank you guys for listening to me and listening to Bromley. You know, keep pushing, whatever you're doing, keep persevering, and greatness will come.
Yes, amazing. All right, guys, we'll speak to you guys soon. Bye-bye.